Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Six weeks back, that is mid-December, we carried an article by our political editor, D.K. Singh, which led to a lot of buzz, a lot of criticism, and which drew a lot of fire from what might be described as the community of Modi critics or left liberals. You can choose your description. And the attack was that he had described apparently Yogi Adityanath of Uttar Pradesh as a role model. Now, he did not describe Yogi Adityanath as a role model for you and me. He had described how Yogi Adityanath had become a role model for BJP's chief ministers. And in fact, he responded to that article. In fact, I might like to share with you the illustration that went out with that article, because that tells a story. This is Yogi Adityanath, and these are the four most prominent BJP chief ministers. There is Khattar of Haryana, Manohar Lal Khattar. There is Yediyurappa, Shivraj Singh Chauhan of Madhya Pradesh, and Vijay Rupani of Gujarat. You will see this on the screen as well. Now, what did DK say? DK said that he is now becoming so popular and his methods are becoming so popular among BJP's voters. He's becoming so popular among BJP's voters that more and more of BJP chief ministers see the need now, or see the compulsion, if you prefer to say that, to emulate him. So he is becoming a role model for BJP's chief ministers. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is something that is for you to decide. However, in today's national interest, I am taking this argument a step forward. One, I am trying to see what happens when Yogi Adityanath does indeed become somebody who the rest of the BJP starts emulating. What does it mean for the BJP's politics? What does it mean for Narendra Modi and Amit Shah going ahead? What does it mean for a state of 23 crore people, that is Uttar Pradesh, which is 1/6 of India? 1 out of every 6 Indians lives in Uttar Pradesh, which is a state which has among the worst social indicators, economic indicators in India. It's a state in a mess in more ways than one. In fact, if you look at the last several weeks, the state has only given us bad headlines. You can go right back to Hathras, Bijnor, Badaयूं, back to Bijnor, back to Badaयूं, Kannauj thrown in, and so much else has gone on in between. This so-called love jihad law has been passed. That has led to its own tamasha. Lots of people have been arrested, mostly all Muslims, almost all Muslims, even though the pretense is that this is not, this is a secular law. It is not a secular law. And many such bad news stories have been erupting from Uttar Pradesh. And lately, we've also seen what's happened with the farmers coming out of Western UP. They display not use of strong arm methods, but display of strong arm methods at Ghazipur, and what led to further trouble. It looks like that is a hand that the UP government played, but it did not work out. Now you see all this bad news coming out of India's largest state, and yet you see within the BJP the stock of Yogi Adityanath, who was a most unlikely chief minister when he was chosen in the March of 2017, his stock in the party is going higher and higher and higher. If you see BJP's election campaigns, after Narendra Modi, if there is one campaigner that BJP people want in all states, it is Yogi Adityanath, because he is willing to say polarizing things which no other BJP leader would even say. So even by BJP leaders' standards, he is polarizing. And where others may use the tactic of dog whistling, he gives out a full-throated cry. So he is the one who can say this is Ali versus Bajrang Bali. He is the one who can say OWC ko Bharat chhod ke jana padega. He is the one who can say Congress loves Tipu, not Hanuman. He can also say Lord Hanuman was a Dalit. So he can say many things. He can also say many things which will not pass the test of political correctness today in terms of gender equality, etc., etc. Although there is much promotion of his new politics by a lot of people, that itself tells us that he is not somebody that more and more of BJP supporters, BJP backers, BJP voters, and BJP backers within the intelligentsia, within the right intelligentsia on the right, on the cultural right, are no longer embarrassed about him. But see what a chief minister he has been. Good or bad, you can decide. Now, he was supposed to have come in and restored law and order in Uttar Pradesh. Now, we know that for the past couple of years, the only time Uttar Pradesh hits national headlines mostly is because of a law and order problem, be it Hathras in recent times, be it a string of rape and murder cases, be it a string of the so-called love jihad cases, be it the Vikas Dubey encounter and death. UP is still making news nationally mostly because of its crime, not because of any other big achievements. Yes, politically, one achievement is the temple for the BJP, but that came from Supreme Court. But that is something that Yogi Adityanath now believes that he can deliver before the next election in 2022 and maybe win himself a second term, which is a very unlikely thing in Uttar Pradesh. In Uttar Pradesh, for a long time, incumbents don't find it easy to win a second term. Now look at the larger picture. If you look at the larger picture of UP's economy, so it was said that he will come and first of all fix UP's law and order and fix UP's economy. So UP's economy, we know, is in a bad way, but it's not always been in a bad way. There are some years which are not bad, there are some years which are very bad, but generally it was below the national growth averages. It was also below the national income rates. Even today, Punjab is so much in fashion. I would say that UP's per capita income would be about a third of Punjab's today, about a fourth of Haryana's. So it is a very poor state and it continues to be a poor state. So look at some data. When Yogi Adityanath came to power in early March 2017, so the financial year then 17-18 begins. So the growth rate in Uttar Pradesh, that is GSDP, in 2015-16, Akhilesh Yadav is still in power, was 8.85%. That year it had gone up substantially from the previous year. 2016-17, double digit. It came to 10.87%, nearly 11%, which will be the figure this year for India. IMF predicts after a year of a negative 7%. Right, 7% or little more than that. So the net will be just about 2.5 to 3%. So 10.87% growth in Uttar Pradesh in 2016-17. After a year of growth like that, Akhilesh Yadav's government lost and Yogi's government came to power. So 2017-18, now I know that 10.87 is a big base. So you might think that increasing growth from there might be tougher, but it fell and it fell substantially from 10.87 to 7.24%. Okay, maybe that was a high base. 1 year Yogi government took settling down. So maybe it will now really zoom from the next year. So what happened the next year? Instead of zooming, in 18-19, it came down to 5.33%. So by 18-19, that is within 2 years, Uttar Pradesh's GSDP growth rate is less, marginally less than a half of where Akhilesh Yadav had left it in his last year. Then 2019-20, a lot of Yogi supporters said, oh, he's fixing some basic issues like law and order. Once those get fixed, then UP will really zoom. 2019-20, it came down to 4.38%. So if you look at that graph, it's coming down like this. Although, if you look at last 10 years, UP has actually done marginally better than the national growth average. So you can then see that much of that better period happened before Yogi. And as far as 2021 is concerned, anybody can make a guess because all of India is going to be substantially negative. You don't expect UP to do much better. In about 6 weeks from now, it will be 4 years of a Yogi government in Uttar Pradesh. What are the achievements? What is it that Uttar Pradesh has achieved? In fact, if you see economically, industrially, in terms of social indicators, very little. In terms of social cohesion, the record is all negative because UP has about 5 crore Muslims. It's about the same Muslim population comparable to, say, the population of Iran, Iraq, Egypt, one of those Muslim countries, ballpark, not exactly. And they have been disenfranchised and they feel disenfranchised. So just as Narendra Modi and Amit Shah have been working or dreaming of a Congress Mukt Bharat, and they've nearly realized that dream, Yogi Adityanath in Uttar Pradesh has been working on a Muslim Mukt Uttar Pradesh. So you have a power structure in UP where these nearly 5 crore people really have no say. So they have been sidelined, and it is around that Yogi Adityanath has built his model of Hindutva. So this is Hindutva 3.0. If I may say for simplicity, that Vajpayee Advani's was Hindutva 1.0, then Narendra Modi, Amit Shah's was Hindutva 2.0, then Yogi Adityanath has now built a Hindutva 3.0. Interesting thing is that so many of these key BJP chief ministers seem to be following him. Now, DK Singh's article gave you many examples. I can quote those to you. Now, shortly after, Yogi Adityanath amended his 1955 anti-cattle slaughter law. It was Yediyurappa who sent his animal husbandry minister to Lucknow to figure out how those changes were made so he could make those changes. Now, Yediyurappa is a much more senior BJP politician than Yogi Adityanath, who is still in his 40s. He was born in 1972. Then, when the so-called Love Jihad law was passed in UP, that is the unlawful conversion of religion ordinance of 2020, that was passed on 28th of November. Within 9 days from Madhya Pradesh, senior BJP leader Rameshwar Sharma was present in Lucknow studying that law, and that is what then Shivraj Singh Chauhan implemented in Madhya Pradesh. Shivraj Singh Chauhan also is not only a much more senior BJP leader compared to Yogi Adityanath, but he is also a chief minister serving a 4th term, which doesn't happen often in India. He is one of the few to get there. Similarly, when he passed his Love Jihad law in Uttar Pradesh, he had announced his intention to do so a few weeks earlier. So within 2 days of his announcing his intention to do so earlier, Manohar Lal Khattar, Chief Minister of Haryana, in his 2nd term, also said that he wanted to pass a law like that, and he had also set up a group of 3 to design a law like that based on the UP law. So what's happened is that he is now setting up a standard, laying out the norms for all these BJP leaders, and in a way, these are not things that his high command can object to, because many of these things his high command may say in whispers, but he is upfront about these and he's doing it in a less bashful way, and the other BJP chief ministers are following it. So what you've now seen is that in the BJP power equation today, if you do any magazine, any publication does a listing of most powerful people in India. India Today does it, many others do it also. So people say immediately Narendra Modi, Amit Shah, and then who else? Maybe RSS chief. Now somewhere there between those 3, today if you ask me, we will put Yogi Adityanath. Now whether it's a good thing or a bad thing is a different debate. The interesting thing to look at right now is how do the top leaders of the BJP see it, because the way he is building himself into the new Hindu Hriday Samrat, it does look like that even increasingly it will become tougher for the RSS to resist his lure, particularly as the next UP election comes up and as the temple construction picks up in earnest. And that is when issues like his latest provocation or his latest action, which has hit big headlines today, which has led to a lot of protests, a statement from Editors Guild, his filing his government, his police filing an FIR under very serious charges of sedition and conspiracy against top editors, one top politician, that is Shashi Tharoor, and many others in his state. These will then be seen as part of the Yogi cult. If you ask me, it's an opinion article. I think it will be very bad for Indian politics and very bad for India's social harmony and social balance. But if you look at it from the BJP's point of view, then BJP now is seeing the rise of another homegrown talent, who you haven't heard the last of, because remember, I just reminded you, he's still a year or so from turning 50.